Hey guys, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I want to thank you so much for the continuous support, suggestions, and phone calls. So we're back again with my top 5 best forages, and today we're going to focus on my top 5 best legumes. What are legumes, you guys might ask? These are the pod producing forages, and they are actually very famous for being very high in protein that a lot of our farmers really try to run down. And I understand why. Protein is a very expensive feed ingredient. If we can get them from our forages, it really assists with our fodder budget. They're also very high in minerals and an economic or environmental benefit forages that it fixes nitrogen back into the soil, so actually recouping back some of those nutrients that will leach out or evaporate into the environment. Nitrogen important for other vegetable crops to grow. I believe that they're also excellent for pasture conditions. They fit well into the silvopastoral system. What is silvopastoral system? That's where we have a tree, grass, and livestock combination, and it's really a holistic approach, an environmental, sustainable approach to producing livestock, timber, and grasses in integration. The trees can provide you with shade, that's some comfort for the animals, and they can also provide additional income. We could plant ackee or so, and we should be fine. So let's look at our top 5 best legumes I think we have locally in Jamaica. Work with me again, it's my bias, it's what I prefer. So I hope you guys remember the criteria that we use to score these plants. Nutrient profile for one, management, hardiness, and persistence, and the utilization is our 4 major categories that we use. I will give it a score based on my personal bias and how I think this crop actually perform out there in the field. So let's get to it. Number 5 on my list, we're going in reverse chronological order. Number 5 on my list is a plant called Stylo santhes. There is a Caribbean Stylo. We have Stylo santhes hamata humilis found locally here, and we also have improved variety. It's not very common, but I like to put it there because of the potential of it. I've seen it in the pastures. I just don't think farmers can identify it, but it's excellent. The crude protein is about between 14 to 18%. The NDF is 40 to 50%. We're getting dry matter yields around 10 to 20 tons per hectare. It needs seeds, so we don't really recommend grazing the hybrid variety in that first, as it establishes. We like to cut it when we think it's seed and have seeds in the ground. It's pretty short-lived. That's probably a problem with it. It's a perennial, and it's sensitive to overgrazing. So if we have animals on it a lot, we might not see it come back. We have to depend on the seeds that might be lodged in the soil. However, it's excellent to our local climates, drought tolerant, hardy. Pests can affect it, so that's a problem there, and we can use it for a hay and pasture based system. So on my scorecard, I give it a 5 out of 10. Number 4 on the list for me, it's Ciatro. You find this right across Jamaica. It's always in our pastures, in our cane fields. The crude protein for it is between 10 to 16%. The NDF very similar to the Stylo santhes, between 40 and 50. We're getting between 5 to 12 tons per hectare on a dry matter basis. It's very good with mixed pastures. When you talk about mixed pastures where you have a grass and a legume, this is one of the trading legumes that across the world that they try to use to mix with it. The growth rates are probably very similar, and they can actually run up on your fence posts and so on. The animals do love it. Again, very sensitive to overgrazing. If animals feed on it too much, you would lose it. We have seen that here. Drought tolerant, it's very persistent. We'll see it coming back up. I love this plant for a part of a mixed hay, in that intercropping with grasses would be perfect to have to improve the nutrient profile of the hay and the total digestible nutrients. It's excellent for leaf meal, and it can be added to your silage. So on my scorecard, I give Ciatro 6 out of 10. Number 3 on the list, this is a very popular one. The common name for it is quickstick. It's really Gyricidia septium. A lot of people call it evergrow steak, and you find it a lot in our fence lines across the island. It's about the nutrient profile is between 15 to 18%. Again, the NDF is between 40 and 50. If you realize that the legumes are very similar with the NDF. We're getting between 9 to 16 tons per hectare. It can be grown by seeds. It produces viable seeds, and you can also grow it by cuttings, as in you can actually circumpose this crop and plant it. Drought tolerant, hardy, persistent. We utilize it as in our fence lines, because there's a windbreaker, no doubt. It's good for silage, mulch, hay, pastures. And on my scorecard, I give it a 7 out of 10. And in second place, I think a lot of farmers would like this. I put Guango, and I don't put Guango the tree, I put Guango the pod. We see that our animals love it, ruminants love it. Goat, sheep, cow, they run it down once it's the Guango pod time. For the pod itself, the crude protein is between 13 to 17%, NDF between 75 and 60. Per hectare, we can get 1 to 5 tons. And it grows well on a wide range of soil types. Very hardy, drought tolerant, it provides shades for the animals, so it works well in that silvopastoral system we're talking about. We utilize it. Why I like it, because we can easily store it. You can pick it from the ground if you want to wash it off, and put it in bags, store it in a dry place without moisture. We can have it there for a very long period. So on my scorecard, I give the Guango pod 8 out of 10. Number 1 on the list, and I think majority of the farmers would agree with me on this one, is wild tamarind, aka Lucina. A lot of the botanists don't like it. They would call it an invasive species, because if you leave it, it will just take over your land. You see it growing everywhere. The seeds spread really quickly. But I don't think it's underutilized anymore. We as farmers definitely have a use for it in our ruminant production system. But it's an excellent crude protein source for animals, and even bypass protein because it has tannins inside of it. The nutrient profile is between 18 to 21%. That's very high. The NDF is between 35 and 41. In a fodder bank situation, we can get to about 3 to 30 tons per hectare. It can be planted by seeds. I think the best regrowth stage for it is between 12 to 16 weeks. But a lot of us just harvest it when we see a tree or when it's just out there in the field. It's the hardiness of it. It is drought tolerant. The regrowth is excellent. It can withstand short periods of waterlogging, and it grows in low soil quality, as in no matter where you have this, you'll see some Lucina growing out of it. How do I utilize the Lucina? Definitely as a dried leaf meals. You can put it in your silage. I'll put about 70-30 ratio with whatever grass species I'm using. 30% will definitely be the Lucina to add that nitrogen to the silage making, and you can pelletize it to store your protein source. So on my scorecard, I give wild tamarind, aka Lucina, a 9 out of 10. Again, guys, I really think this one was a blessing for us in the country. What we should note is that there are many different varieties of Lucina, and the one that we see growing wild is not really the fodder version. There's a fodder variety that it can be found at Boodles, and that's the one that I would love to see farmers really utilize and expand into a fodder bank program, or just have it in their fence and on the farm. So that's it again, guys. I hope my legume top 5 list, we can agree to disagree on it in any case, but I believe these are the exceptional ones. We do have a lot more that we can select from. Some outstanding ones like Macuna and the Cannavalia. High protein, the pods on those are like 40%, but they're pretty difficult to grow and not very commonly found around the island. So I'm looking at the ones that we can easily find and utilize. So our next episode, we'll go into the non-leguminous trees and shrubs. That's an exciting one that I think you guys would love. So look out for that and keep watching. Let's stick with FarmerKhalil.